Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is TowerGate Day number 606, Tuesday, November 13th, 2018. Thank you so much for tuning in. Well, as you know, there was no video upload on Monday because our good friends at Time Warner didn't just fail the video once, it failed the video twice. So it just didn't get uploaded. But fortunately it was a pretty slow news day, so most of what I had from yesterday I can include in today as well. So let's get started. Okay, we're now learning that on January the 13th of 2017, Barack Hussein Obama signed an executive order. This is just 1 week before Trump was sworn in. Obama signed an executive order that altered the line of succession within the Department of Justice. This was not done with the consultation of the incoming Trump administration. Typically, when you get into the transition period, after there's been an election and you're going to have a changeover at president, they kind of work together through the transition period, and the outgoing administration will advise the incoming administration on various things that are in play as far as legislation or things about maybe a war that's ongoing or something like that. And you generally do not see executive orders. But as we know, there was a rash of executive orders that went out in the weeks after Trump was elected, leading up to the time when he was inaugurated. And this particular executive order took place on January the 13th of 2017, just 1 week before Trump was inaugurated. And it altered the succession at the Department of Justice. So what was done here was to have this executive order, which would force the incoming president, Trump in this case, to follow a specific line of succession so that he could not go outside the line of succession to find an attorney general or say his attorney general was recused. He would not be able to go around the line of succession in order to appoint someone else. It's probably how we got Rodenstein. So in order to get Matthew Whitaker appointed as the acting AG, Trump had to reverse this executive order. It's exactly what he had to do. He had to reverse this executive order. Otherwise, the next person up would have been Rodenstein. Of course, Rodenstein is quite conflicted. There's a lot of problems going on with Rodenstein right now. He's got issues with the Mueller investigation because he's the one who wrote the letter that suggested Comey should be fired, as well as he signed off on the fourth FISA warrant. We have the issue about whether or not he wanted to wiretap the president or what have you. So there's a lot going on there. So Trump could have bypassed him, but the secession would have that Obama signed would have forced Trump to go with the number 3 man, which would have been the Solicitor General, which is Noel Francesco. But Trump did not do that. He went around that to get to Mr. Whitaker, and that required Trump to rescind or reverse this executive order by Hussein Obama, which he signed just 1 week before Trump took office. What does this tell us? What it tells me is that the plan to force Sessions to resign was probably cooked up before Trump ever even took office. They knew that Sessions would be his attorney general, and they thought, uh-oh, we've got to do something about that. And that's probably when they cooked up the whole plan to force Sessions, to trick him and then force him, because it was largely Rodenstein and these corrupt DOJ attorneys who advised Sessions that he should recuse himself. The very perps who are part of the frame-up. So this deal was likely cooked up a long time ago. It was likely cooked up weeks or months, well, probably not months, but at least weeks before Trump was even sworn into office, because they knew when he came in he would probably want to dig into the crimes. And so they thought, uh-oh, we have to fix this. What are we going to do? Well, first we got to get Sessions to recuse himself. We got to find a way to get Sessions to recuse himself. And then Trump will be forced to go with Rodenstein, and he will be advised to do as such, especially since there's a law that talks about the following this secession. Not really so much a law as much as an executive order that Obama signed just a week before Trump was inaugurated. But, of course, Trump followed this secession, which gave us Rodenstein, but at some point he must have wised up, or someone must have told him, hey, you know, you can actually select anyone you want. This line of secession, this was just an executive order signed by Obama a week before you were inaugurated. So all you need to do is reverse this executive order, and you can appoint Whitaker and skip Noel Francesco or Rodenstein. And that's why the Democrats are having a fit. They thought the fix was in for them. But not this time. Trump is wising up. He's wising up and figuring out exactly how these people play, and he's maneuvering in such a way to put himself in the best position for success, because they had him set up for pure failure. It's not going to work. Just thought you might like to know that. You know, and all this talk about, well, you know, Whitaker, it's a constitutional crisis. He can't appoint Whitaker. Whitaker said bad things about Mueller. He said he would indict Hillary and all this kind of stuff. And he's too close to Trump. He knows Trump. He's a friend of Trump. Trump talked to him. All this kind of stuff. Well, it's funny because I don't remember hearing all of this from the Democrats when JFK nominated his brother, RFK, Robert Kennedy, to be his attorney general. Did you hear any Democrats complaining when John F. Kennedy named his brother to be the attorney general? How about Loretta Lynch? How about Eric Holder? I mean, literally, political, far left-wing political activists, friends, associates, essentially working for Obama in the Obama administration. Yet they have the gall to cry about Whitaker. You see, it's just typical Democratic, more bullshit, typical type of bullshit you get from the Democrats, talking out of both sides of their mouth. Whatever's convenient at the time. Now, I remember when they loved Comey, then they hated Comey. Now they love Comey again. Then they hated Jeff Sessions. Then they love Jeff Sessions. It really doesn't matter for the Democrats. They can sell it either way, because it's all about power to them and politics. They care nothing about the rule of law or anything else. And I think Trump's figuring this out, that, hey, you know, you cannot go to Washington, D.C. and try to drain the swamp and try to deal with these people and try to play it on the up and up. They don't play that way. They play dirty and break all the rules. Any rules that you can break and get away with, that's what they do. And I think Trump's figuring out that this is exactly the type of things that you have to do if you are going to be successful in taking down the deep state and being successful in general. You got to play the game. And this is what he did. He reversed the executive order and put in Whitaker. And they can cry and complain and scream and moan and bitch and subpoena all they want. And you know what Whitaker is going to say when they hit him with that subpoena and force him to come and testify after the Democrats take over? Ha 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 ha! He's going to do exactly what Rodenstein and Comey and all the rest of them do. He's going to play that exact same game. He's just going to look up and say, I'm sorry, I can't answer that question about the Mueller investigation because it's an ongoing investigation. Sorry! Can't talk about the Mueller investigation. And that's the only questions they want to ask him about. Mr. Whitaker, you once said that you thought that the Mueller investigation was a witch hunt, that the people on his team were biased. What do you have to say about that? And he'll come back and say, well, I don't have anything to say about that because it's this is regarding to a ongoing investigation by Mueller, which I'm now in charge of, and therefore I can't comment on an ongoing investigation that I am in charge of now. There you go. That's exactly what he'll say. Their own game. That's exactly what you do with these people. It's exactly what you do. Well, it appears we have Jerome Corsi, who's now saying that he will be indicted for perjury. Wonder why he knows that. It's probably not good when you're going out and making a public statement saying, yeah, hey, I'm the next guy that's going to be indicted by Uncle Bob the Executioner. And Uncle Bob's going to probably try to throw him in jail and squeeze him the way he is Manafort. Well, Manafort's not talking because Manafort has nothing to say. I don't really think that Corsi has much to say. I don't think Roger Stone has much to say. You can try to indict these people and pinch them or whatever, I guess, but and hope they'll compose a tune, but I just don't think it's going to work. And people are getting quite sick of it, and now Mr. Whitaker is in charge. So, my guess is that Whitaker, not publicly and not with a lot of, he's not going to come out and advertise it, but I assume that he's going to be trying to lock this thing down, and he's not going to tolerate any more witch hunting. In fact, I think he's probably going to tell Mueller as soon as he meets with him, if he has not already, show me what you got. Show me what you've got. Because if you don't have anything more, you've been doing this for over a year and a half, it's time to wrap it up. And if he says, well, yeah, I think, I got Corsi on lying to the FBI. What do you got? What did Corsi do? Well, he lied. What did he lie about? I think that's probably how it's going to go. So, yeah, this idea that they're going to scare or intimidate the acting AG by making all these threats, I just don't think it's going to work. I think Whitaker's basically going to do exactly what he was brought in to do, and that was to bring the Mueller investigation to a conclusion and stop the witch hunt and the ridiculousness. I think that's exactly what he'll do. And the fact is, he's not worried about the leaks too much, because if it gets leaked, he'll know where it came from. Mueller himself or someone on his team, because that's the only people Whitaker will be talking to. You see. Alrighty, well, it looks like, let's see, we have Mark Penn, who was a Clinton pollster during the Bill Clinton administration, knows the Clintons extremely well, has known them for a very long time, and he's now saying that it's a good chance that the rotten Reverend Clinton will run. Yes, I've been saying this for a long time. Of course she's going to run. And I'll get more into that here in a little while as I get into another story about the rotten Reverend Clinton. Well, it looks like they're now pretty much calling the race now in Arizona for the Kristen Sinema, the former member of Code Pink, social justice warrior. Somehow she defeated Martha McSally in Arizona. I don't know how that could really happen. I mean, the governor there won with 35, 40,000 more votes than the Democrat. So they overwhelmingly elect a Republican governor, but they vote for a far left-wing nutcase for the Senate. That seems, especially in a red state, and especially in two counties, including Maricopa, which is a very conservative county, somehow McSally lost, went into, before they counted the votes there, she was up 17,000. She ends up being down 10,000. So somehow they found 35,000 more Democrat votes in a conservative county that voted, produced also almost 40,000 more votes for the Republican for governor than they did the Democrat. But somehow, I guess that's how it works when you're in the election stealing business. So I think it's pretty safe to say that the election in Arizona for the Senate was stolen, hijacked right underneath our noses. Now, whether or not Martha McSally will challenge that, call for a recount or whatever, I don't know. I'm not hearing that. But anyway, maybe one of you who live in Arizona, I know Miss Tree lives in, I think, Maricopa County. She's already commented, and I could gather from her comment that she doesn't find this very believable. Maybe some of you who live in Arizona can clear me up on this, explain to me how this is possible. Do you, if you live in Arizona, do you think that you had a fair election in Arizona? I'm just curious. Please chime in the comments section if you're from Arizona and let me know. Smells fishy to me, Marge. Well, we still have 7 House seats that are undecided. All of them previously held by Republicans. But for some strange reason, all these 7 seats previously held by Republicans, 6 of the 7 in which Republicans were winning on the night of the election have still not been called. We have 3 of those in California, 1 in Maine, 1 in New Jersey, and 1 in Utah. Still waiting. Seats held by Republicans who were winning on election night, which are now in question. Now, there were 7 seats in California. 4 of those have already been decided, and it looks like 2 of those 4, again, in places, seats that have been held by Republicans in California for a long time, ended up turning, even though they were winning the night of the election, turned Democrat. They found some votes, and most of them were Democrat votes. How's that? And I believe that Dana Rohrabacher is one of those seats that they're calling lost, that went to the Democrat. Now it's a pretty Republican district where he's from. He's been in that seat for a long time, since like, gosh, what, 88 or something? I mean, back to the Reagan years or something. And he's very popular, and it appears that even though they've called the race for his Democratic challenger, it appears that Rohrabacher has not conceded. They called that race yesterday, day before yesterday. But Rohrabacher has not officially conceded. Tells me that he's about to do a court challenge. Good. It's about time. Republicans should challenge damn near every seat. They should challenge everything. They should challenge the entire midterm. A lot of funny business went on here. A lot of things that don't add up. A lot of things don't add up. Florida officials say that they, in the 2 counties that we're talking about, Palm Beach County and Broward County, it appears that in Broward County they had till Thursday, and both these counties had till Thursday to get their vote in. It appears at this point that they're now saying in Broward County that obviously it's not going to happen. In fact, they're not even supposed to start recounting the votes until tomorrow. They're not even going to start the recount until tomorrow, which means there's no way they can have the votes in by Thursday. And Palm Beach County, they're saying the same thing. They're basically coming out and saying we cannot get the recount done by Thursday. This is extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary. And in fact, they're blaming it on outdated voting machines, that they have broken machines and they can't get parts because they're outdated machines or something. So what usually happens after you've been given a date by a judge that says you must have your vote in by this date? If you don't do it, what happens? Well, typically what happens is they simply don't get their votes counted. They simply take whatever was reported on the night of the election at 30 minutes after the polls closed, and whatever that number was, 30 minutes after the polls closed on election night is the number they roll with. And anything counted, received after that is not counted. Now that would be good for Republicans. But if you look at what's going on in Broward County, it's so totally corrupt that these issues are being challenged at the county level, where you have county judges from Broward County who are just as corrupt as the officials. Broward County may be one of the most corrupt, well, Florida may be one of the most corrupt states we have for elections, and Broward County is the most corrupt county in Florida. So it's the most corrupt of the corrupt in the country in Broward County. The judges, everything, man. It's that the sheriff, we know all about the sheriff in Broward County. So it's clear that if you're connected, if you're a crony, if you're a Democrat, if you're connected to the right people in Broward County, Debbie Blabbermouth Wasserman Schultz, this crazy sheriff who should have been fired a long time ago, this crazy woman that runs the election down there, she's and then the lady in Palm Beach, Florida, she's just as crazy. I mean, there's a lot of problems down there, man. And these are elected officials, judges, sheriffs. I mean, who's electing these people? Oh, that's right, crazy Democrats. Crazy Democrats electing even crazier Democrats to fill elected offices. There's a lot of problems here that we don't have time to go into now. There's this rumor that's out there, and I don't know if it's true because it's not really being reported in the main papers like New York Times, Washington Post, or anything like that. They may have this information, they just want to keep it silent. But there's rumors out there, and it's been reported, and kind of like some of the alternative media kind of reporting on this. I don't know if it's true or not, but just in case you haven't heard it, just so you know it's out there. It is being reported by some media outlets that Justice Ginsburg, that her melanoma came back, and that she learned about this months ago, before the election, and that she informed several high-ranking Democrats in the Congress, including Diane Turn In Your Guns, Mr. and Mrs. America Feinstein. So apparently, if this is true, many high-level Democrats have known that Ginsburg melanoma has come back, if this is true, and that she's likely going to have to resign and leave the Supreme Court in 2019, probably right after the first of the year. Again, so far this is just rumor as far as I know. It's not being completely confirmed or widely reported. It's kind of out there, floating around in the alternative media. But I think Rush Limbaugh may have mentioned this on his program. I'm not sure. That's what I'm hearing. So I didn't hear it myself. I'm hearing other people say he mentioned it. So if this is true, that means that Trump will be selecting another Supreme Court justice after the first of the year, and it would also explain why the Democrats have gone to such efforts to steal the midterm elections, because they know that if Trump wins big in the Senate and gets this clear, comfortable 53, 54 seat majority, that he'll get any type of judge he wants, especially a conservative one, confirmed. And that will make the court what? 6-3? So this would explain the massive amount of in-your-face vote fraud and attempting to steal these Senate seats. Because look where a lot of this stuff is happening. It would make some sense and would explain some things, would it not? We have Lindsey Graham confirming that no, Whitaker does not have to recuse himself. That's true. And we have more problems, it appears, for Madam Botox, who believes that she is a shoo-in for the Speaker of the House, and she probably is. It's funny because Trump said, well, if Nancy has any problem getting confirmed, maybe I can get some Republican votes for her. Trump wants Nancy Pelosi, Madam Botox, to be the Speaker. Trump would love to have Madam Botox to battle against over the next 2 years. He would love that, and he wants that. But it appears that a lot of these new Democrats, about 38, I heard the number 38, campaigned on a platform that they would not support Madam Botox for Speaker. And this could be the very first vote that these people cast, is the vote for Speaker. Now, after telling their constituents that they would never support Pelosi, if the very first thing they do is turn around and vote for her, they're probably toast with their base. But Pelosi cannot lose 38 Democrats. Pelosi can only afford to lose 14 Democrats. If more than 14 Democrats do not support her for Speaker, then she's toast. We also know that Tim Ryan has his own little group that he's working with behind the scenes to try to kneecap Pelosi. But now we're hearing that, believe it or not, Ocasio-Cortez is forming her own little anti-Pelosi group that she is trying to put together to stop. And she's one of these people who said she would not vote for Madam Botox. So we will find out exactly how that's all going to play out. Now, my experience is, with the way the Democratic Party works, is that Pelosi can bring an awful lot of heat on people like Ocasio-Cortez and anyone who would not support her. She can give you a congressional office 2 blocks down the street in a stockroom. She can make sure that you don't get a seat on a committee, or if it is, it's some committee you would hate and you'll be the lowest ranking member. She can make sure that you get no money shared with you around re-election time, and she can make sure that they run someone against you to defeat you in your next election. She can make sure that you're a one-term congressperson. And so we will see which way these people have to go. But Pelosi has got a lot of problems on her agenda, believe me, because her entire leadership that's going to be taking over these leadership positions in Congress and these committee chair positions, they're all talking about nothing but impeach Trump from day one. And if they pursue this strategy, it will backfire badly. And Pelosi is a clever enough person, been around long enough, that she knows that that is a big-time no-no, that that's not what you do. It's typically proven to be a political loser. And Republicans know this well, as does Pelosi, because we all lived through the Clinton thing, where the Republicans tried to do the same thing to Clinton after Monica Lewinsky, and it cost them big time. It came back and bit them in the butt. People don't like to see that. They think once the election's over, it's over. Now, what are you doing on healthcare? What are you doing on taxes? What are you doing on infrastructure? What are you doing on this? What are you doing on that? And if they see the leadership of these committees doing nothing but doing subpoenas and investigations and trying to go after people, it rubs people wrong. They don't like to see it, and they generally don't respond to it very positively in the next election cycle. Now, Pelosi understands this. The rest of these people, I don't know. They're just so crazy out of their mind with hatred for Trump that they're willing to slit their own throat. We'll see if Pelosi will stand by and let them, or if she will try to step in and stop them, or if she even can stop them, assuming that she can beat back these challenges to her leadership. We're about to find out a lot of things. It's going to be quite interesting, quite entertaining over the next couple weeks as we watch Pelosi try to herd these wild cats. Okay, getting back to the rotten Reverend Clinton, as I mentioned, Mark Penn, who was the primary poster for Bill Clinton when he was president, and he is pretty much of a Democrat, I think, but he's kind of an honest Democrat. He's on Fox a lot, I know that, to get the kind of the moderate Democrat opinion a lot of the time. But he says that the rotten Reverend Clinton is most likely going to run. And we know that the rotten Reverend Clinton recently tapped into money from her Onward Together organization to pay for lawyers and activists to go to Florida to help out with the recount. That's probably who's paying Mark Elias. We know Mark Elias was sent down there to win that seat and win that governorship. And who does he work for? The rotten Reverend Clinton. And apparently the money came, she asked for money, requested money, tapped into money from her Onward Together, which is her presidential piggy bank for 2020, because she is going to run for president. She's going to do everything she can to do that, but I can promise you. Doesn't mean she'll be successful at even winning the nomination, but she's Hillary Clinton. She's nuts. And she believes that she can muscle out anyone, and she knows how the Democratic Party works. And I'll explain it to you in just a second if you don't know. So it appears that she tapped into money from Onward Together to pay the lawyers to go down to Florida, as well as activists to protest, because we know that these activists are mostly being paid. We can assume that she tapped into some money from her 2020 campaign, and that she called rent-a-commie and sent the rent-a-commies down there to protest. Now, at the same time that she's doing all this, she is sending out fundraising letters. Sending out fundraising letters, letting people know that she and her organization, Onward Together, are engaged in the fight in Florida to steal those seats for Democrats. So the way that so here's how the rotten Reverend Clinton, I know a lot of people are jumping on the bandwagon now saying yes, she's going to run in 2020. I've been saying that for a long, long time. Here's what the rotten Reverend Clinton understands. Okay, it's a little early to get into 2020 election analysis, but I'll just give you kind of my thoughts on it because we're on the topic. Okay, so in 2020, what you've got is a sitting Republican president, okay, Trump. Now, he doesn't have to worry about fighting in a primary challenge. Has an approval rating of about upper 80s, close to 90% with Republicans. He's very popular with his party. Now, there'll be a couple of wingnuts like Mitt Romney, like probably Jeff the Flake, maybe John Kasich, who will try to primary Trump. But they'll have such low numbers, and there'll be such small number of people out there even willing to hear about anyone but Trump in 2020 as a Republican, that it'll be nothing more than a publicity stunt and maybe a chance for them to push a book. Trump will not even respond other than to make fun of them. He won't attend any primaries or anything else. He won't need to. He will overwhelmingly win even if they launch a primary. He will get the party's nomination by a mile in 2020, and he knows that. On the other hand, for Democrats, they need to find a candidate. Now, the way that you become the president typically as a Republican is you go out and you get the support of first the people in the GOP, the top people in the GOP, in the national level, and in all the various states. You accumulate and get all the GOP people behind you, the people at the top tier of the GOP around the country and nationally. Then you go out and you secure the big backers for the Republican Party. And there's about 24 of those, and the top one on the list being the Chamber of Commerce. And you go out and get the support of these people, and then you pretty much are going to win the nomination, like a Bush or someone like that. Now, Trump bucked that system and was able to beat that system because he was the right man at the right time. He came in right on the crest. He rode the crest of a populist wave that's sweeping the world. He was rich enough that he could bankroll his own campaign. He didn't need their money. And number three, he knew how to communicate with ordinary folks. He knows how to talk to these people, and his name wasn't Bush. It was a very, people didn't want to see a kind of a dynastic situation again with a Bush or a Clinton, for that matter. So Trump was able to buck the system and beat it in 2016. Now, the way things work in the Democratic Party, the way you get to be the Democratic nominee, is you have to go out and be the one who can raise the most money. Whoever can raise the most money wins. That's how it works in the Democratic Party. Well, the rotten Reverend Clinton is sitting back knowing that there's no one in the field of politicians who can raise the money she can raise. She has already sucked all that money out. It's gone. It ain't there. And you have a couple other people out there like maybe Bloomberg or Steyer who are billionaires who can self-finance like Trump did, but the problem they have is that they're way too far to the left to win in the Electoral College. They could run up big numbers in the East Coast and West Coast, but they can't win in the heartland. They can't win in the South, maybe even the Southwest. They can't win the Electoral College. So Clinton isn't worried about them. And what Clinton's going to do, as I told you all before, she is going to sit back and because there's going to be probably somewhere between 15 to 25 Democrats throw their hat in the ring, but they're all going to find out that when they go out there to be the one who can raise the most money, they're going to find that there ain't much money out there because Clinton's already sucked it all up through her organizations. She has multiple organizations. The one Onward Together, the one we were just talking about, raises tremendous amounts of money. She's continuing to raise money, sending out fundraising letters. There's no one who can outraise Clinton in the Democratic Party for money. She's got that money locked up. She also has the national recognition. She served as Secretary of State, was a senator, and all this kind of stuff. So she is pretty much going to be hard to beat. If she wants a nomination, she can buy it, and she knows it, and she does want it. So what the rotten Reverend Clinton's going to do, as I said, she is going to run a fake draft Hillary campaign. She is going to pay these, rent-a-commies to go out and beg and plead for Hillary to please, please, please run. It'll be a fake draft Hillary campaign. She'll continue to say no, 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 while she watches a group of about 15 to 25 Democrat wannabes go beat the snot out of each other, which will begin right around February or March of 2019. After the new year, you're going to start seeing these Democrat candidates emerge because they all need to be getting out of the starting gate to go get the money. So by February or March, a lot of these Democrats will declare they'll be out trying to get the money, which ain't going to be there. The rotten Reverend Clinton's going to watch them beat each other to death for quite a few months, and then about 2 weeks before the filing deadline, she's going to file and say, well, I really didn't want to run, but I'm getting millions and millions of people begging me to run, telling me I got to run, I got to save the country, I got to take out Trump, I got to save America, so I have no choice but to run again for president. And I've got the money. That's how that's going to go. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you tomorrow. Bye.